Tony from Bonner's Music, and this is my buyer's guide for the new Korg Wavestate SE synthesizer. Of course, the original Wavestate has been available for a few years now, but Korg has just released this fabulous new SE version, which has the benefit of a 61-note premium quality keyboard with aftertouch. And I'm told it's actually the same keyboard that was used in the Kronos and the new Nautilus AT workstations. I was always a lover of the original Korg Wavestation that was released in 1990, and when I heard Korg was releasing the previous generation Wavestate, I was so excited to get my hands on those big lush sounds that wave sequencing offers. However, Korg only released the original Wavestate with a budget quality 3-octave keyboard, and I found it frustrating at times when I kept running out of physical keys to play. So the smaller Wavestate is okay as a sound source in a studio, but if you need a true performance keyboard, it just didn't hit the spot for me personally. Now, with a new 61-note keyboard and proper pro-level build quality, you'll notice that the chassis is actually metal just like Nautilus or Kronos. This new Korg synth is a proper performer's instrument, and because of this, it's far more inspirational than its predecessor. So I would suggest you approach this new keyboard with no preconceptions of anything you didn't like about the older, smaller model. Playing this new keyboard is a totally different experience. Now, before making this video, I thought I would take a look online to see what content already existed for the Wavestate, and there's loads of it. There are literally hundreds of videos and some really excellent demonstrations showing the amazing capabilities of this synth. But I thought it would be nice to approach this keyboard from perhaps a keyboard player's point of view, because I feel the Wavestate has so much to offer, not just for film and gaming music producers, but also for regular keyboard players like myself who need a great range of bread and butter sounds, but sometimes just feel a bit self-indulgent and want to have fun with those massive pads and orchestral textures that the Wavestate does so very well. There are some excellent third-party sound libraries available for Wavestate, so rather than just showing you the factory presets, which have all been very well and truly covered in other videos, I've downloaded some additional sound libraries from Korg's own online shop, as well as Synthonia.com, and I'm going to be using these alongside the factory presets to show you just how the Wavestate can be used by performing keyboard players as well as studio musicians. I'm going to be giving you plenty of playing examples throughout this video, and of all of the keyboards I've played, this one especially deserves to be heard through a great set of speakers or decent quality headphones. So sit back and enjoy the Korg Wavestate SE. So let's just start off by taking a look at the panel layout of the Wavestate SE, and then I'm going to show you how to create your own sounds and layers. So very quickly, if we just have a quick run through of the layout. So we've got over here pitch bend and mod wheels and octave shift buttons, which are very useful. You've got a vector control here, which you may have noticed I was using in that little piece of music I just played as an intro, and I'm going to come to that again in a second when we start creating our own sounds. Now, next to the volume control here, you have your layer buttons. So this is where you can switch on and off the different layers within a sound. So remember, Wavestate SE is what we call a 4-layer synthesizer. So you can actually stack 4 sounds on top of each other, or split the keyboard and place the sounds wherever you want on the keyboard. And I'll come to a little bit more about that in a second, but this is where you switch on and off those different parts. Of course, you've got your display screen in the middle. Now, to make things a little bit easier for you, Korg have released completely free of charge an editing software for both PC and Mac. So I'm actually using that on this laptop here, and this is connected to the Wavestate, and it does make editing your own sounds and creating sounds very, very easy. You don't have to have it. You can do everything from the front panel if you want to, but seeing as it's free of charge, and literally you just download the software, plug in via USB, and it just talks to the Wavestate, and it makes it very, very simple for even just for naming sounds. It makes it much easier. So I really would urge you to download the free Korg editing software. You also need that editing software to install new sounds that you may download from various websites for Wavestate. So as I said earlier, I have downloaded some sounds from Synthonia and from Korg's own website, and they're actually very inexpensive. The Korg ones were only $10 for a library of loads and loads of sounds. So do take a look, because it really makes using the Wavestate a breeze when you start downloading sounds, and then you can of course tailor them and modify them to your own preferences. So as I said, there are 4 layers, and every layer has its own filter and amp envelope, LFOs and effects as well, and of course you've got master effects that cover all 4 layers at the same time. And then you have these silver knobs here, which are just basically assignable controllers, although they're actually named on the panel with kind of like preset functions. You can assign any controllers you want to, or any parameters to these controllers that you want. And then this little section here are your wave sequence lanes. Now I'm going to explain a little bit more about those in a minute. Now this is just a buyer's guide, it's not a tutorial, but I do need to help you understand a little bit how it works so you can make the decision to whether or not this is the right keyboard for you. But if you want to know some really in-depth information about the Wavestate, or you've got a Wavestate already and you want to know how to use it, I found a great channel on YouTube called XNB, and they do some really good synthesizer tutorials, very in-depth, but they take you through step by step how to use your synthesizer. So that's XNB, and again I'll drop a link in the description to this video. So let's just start with creating our own layered sound. So if we just start with layer A, I've assigned an acoustic piano to layer A. So if we just have a listen to that, just a basic acoustic piano voice. Now by holding down Enter and pressing any of the layer buttons, it solos that individual layer. So on layer B, I've selected a synth pad sound. And as I said, every layer has its own filter as well, so if I wanted to close that filter a little bit, make it a more mellow kind of synth pad sound, or open it up. Let's go to layer C, and on here I have a choir voice. And then on layer D, I've got a wave sequence. So each layer can either have a sample sound, or a multi-sample as Korg call it, or it can have a wave sequence. Now wave sequence is exactly what it says. It's a sequence of waveforms which can play rhythmically, but those waveforms can be changing in pitch, the length of the notes can be changing, the timing can be changing, all while your wave sequence is playing, and you've got control over all of those parameters using the wave sequence lanes. But I've just selected one of the preset wave sequences, and it's this one. So it's quite a subtle kind of rhythmic little synthesized sequence. Now of course I can switch on any of those layers that I want to. So if I hold down Shift and press each button individually, it switches them on and off, and there's a little LED light underneath each one to tell you when it's activated. So for instance, if I want just the piano, which is on A, and the synth pad sound, which is on B, I just press Shift, switch them both on. And you get that nice sound. And I must say the Wavestate does give you some really nice lush synth pad sounds. So as well as being able to control the volume of each layer, you can also set the key range for each layer. So if you've ever watched any of my other videos, something I like, when you're playing a piano with a pad or piano with a string sound, I only like the pad sound to be in the lower octaves of the keyboard, so it allows the piano to kind of sing out in the higher octaves. So as an example, if I just play some chords here, there I've got the piano and the synth together, but up here I've got the piano on its own. So when you play them together, I just like that kind of setup. That works for me personally. So let's switch on all 4 layers now, and you'll see I've got that nice rhythmic sequence going, and the choir as well. Now for me that choir is a little bit too loud, of course, so if I'm in performance I can hold down Shift and press the arrow and go to the volume page, and let's bring the volume of the choir down a little bit. There. So now that sounds much better within the mix. So you can see it's quite easy to create quite a nice sound very, very quickly. Now what I want to also do is just show you this joystick control here, which as you know I was using in the little demo piece of music that I played. Now this can control the volume of each of the 4 layers. So if I just press the vector button here and I switch on vector volume, any of the layers that are activated, you'll see it says here A, B, C and D. That corresponds to the 4 layers that you have here. By moving the vector, you can cycle through the volume for each of the 4 parts, and you can kind of create your own mix of the 4 parts. So if I just want piano on its own, I just push it hard over to the left where it says A, piano on its own. If I want to bring in a little bit of synth pad, just move it up between A and B. If I want to add a little bit of choir, just move it towards C. You hear the choir comes in. And then finally, let's have the wave sequence, maybe just wave sequence and choir. So you can be quite creative by using the vector control. So that is a really basic concept to show you of how the Wavestate works. Just one final thing actually, just with the effect. If I've just got that piano sound here, maybe with the choir as well, I can just turn this knob here and it adds a really nice studio quality reverb to the piano. So that's the basic concept of Wavestate SE. So now I'm just going to play you some sounds, both kind of cinematic sounds as well as just bread and butter keyboard player sounds. So it gives you a flavour and an idea of what can be achieved with Wavestate SE. So I thought it would be useful just to show you the keyboard working in conjunction with the editing software that Korg have released for Wavestate. So if we just switch over to the screen here, you'll see I've got basically 4 layers, and those are the 4 layers that correspond with the 4 buttons on the Wavestate hardware. And you'll see that layer A, which I'm pointing to there, is using a single multi-sample, and that's an acoustic piano. Okay, now just by switching on and off these little green buttons, you can turn on and off the various layers. So if we just go back to layer A, switch on the green button, there's my piano voice. And of course down here I've got the volume of that layer, the octave shift, the tuning, and over here the key zones and the velocity zone. So this is where you set up where on the keyboard you want that sound to be located, and whether or not you want it to be triggered by the harder or softer you press the keys. So we can switch between the 4 layers, and we can switch them on and off here, as I've said. Now if we just go to layer D, which is that waves sequence, which is this sound. Now you'll see when I actually play the keys that here it's actually showing me the wave sequence playing. Now as you can see, the timing, the different samples that are used within the wave sequence, the pitch of those samples, the shape, you can change the actual shape of the sample, the gate, that's the note length, and then you've got step sequence as well. So you can modify all of those parameters to create your own wave sequences. There are lots of great wave sequences already built into the keyboard, but you can also create your own as well. Now I'm not going to get into that here because this is just a buyer's guide, but like I said, if you check out some of the other very in-depth tutorials that you'll find on YouTube, then they go into how to create your own wave sequences. So you'll see that the software is very intuitive. Now, if you just want to use it as a librarian, just change to the librarian mode here, and this is where you can just select sounds, and they're all categorized, as you can see here. You can even see the collections where they've come from. So for instance, Wavestate 1 is the original Wavestate sounds. Wavestate SE are the sounds which have been tailored specially for Wavestate SE. Then you've got, these are the different collections that I've downloaded and loaded into my Wavestate. And you use the librarian to transfer sounds from your laptop or your computer into the Wavestate. So Wavestate SE has been launched in the standard black finish, but Korg have also released a special edition version which is in silver. Now if you look behind me, I have a silver Op6 SE there. Now that is the same colour that you can get the Wavestate SE, but there's only a limited quantity of these at the initial launch of Wavestate SE. So you can find out pricing and availability of Wavestate SE on the Bonners Music website. We also offer part exchange, so if you've got a keyboard you want to upgrade to a new SE, then please get in touch, let us know what you've got, and you might have a Wavestate SE in your hands a little bit quicker than you thought. If you want to see a Wavestate SE, we will have one in our stores, so just give us a call. Make sure that the SE is in the location that's closest to you, so we don't want you to have a wasted journey. So just give us a call and make sure that there's a Wavestate in the branch that you want to come and see. So if you have any questions about buying a new synthesizer, or you'd like some prices on upgrades, that kind of thing, please don't hesitate to get in touch. And I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching.